you're on a shoebox. Hello you guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you don't know me, my name is Myranda. If you do know me, welcome back to my channel. I got this idea from one of my friends. It's been kind of circling on the internet right now. It's like to film content that kind of makes it feel like you're on FaceTime with a friend, and my best friend and I are long distance, so I'm really fucking good at this. All we do is like call each other like once a month, and we are on FaceTime for hours just like talking about like the most random stuff. We haven't had one of those in a while, so I'm gonna do that today with you guys and just kind of update you and just chit chat and talk. I'm also gonna do my makeup. I'm also gonna share some book recommendations, books that I've loved, books that I've hated. I've been kind of in my book era as much as I can be with my busy life, which I'll also dive into kind of like what I do for a living, which I feel like I never really talk about. That's something that I genuinely do want to like kind of talk about, share with you guys, and let you guys in on what's the tea. I also have like this really crazy story time to share with you guys that I've never shared on the internet before, and honestly I forgot that it had happened before. I recently remembered, and then I told my friends, I was like, how have I never told this story on the internet before? I just think that like it was just the most insane fucking thing to ever happen to me. I mean, there's been more insane things, but like that was insane as well. First things first, before we really dive into this, I post TikToks daily, so if you guys please can go follow my TikTok. I do Get Ready With Me's where I do share story times, and I haven't shared this story time on TikTok specifically yet, but I really want to. You guys will hear it first, so you're welcome. Can we talk about the 10-year-olds at Sephora? Like, it's kind of annoying me to see like every video on TikTok right now is like, these 10-year-olds at Sephora are crazy. Like, okay, but so are the 30-year-olds at Target that like need the Stanley like their life depends on it. I don't know, it's just been really crazy to see. Like, let the 10-year-olds be. Like, whenever, I mean, like, yeah, they're crazy. I feel like never mind, I'm not gonna get into that. I mean, I have a 10-year-old sister myself, and she is like a good kid. Like, she's a really good kid. She doesn't fall under the category of like those bratty 10-year-olds. She does do her skincare, but she does it like it's cute, and she only uses products that she actually like can be using for her skin, as opposed to like those little girls that are like, I want the drunk elephant peptide. Like, you don't even know. Like, I've heard it's like causing, like, little girls are using drunk elephant, it's giving them like chemical burns and stuff. I'm like, girl, we do need to like clean up my eyebrows. That's been a goal of mine in 2024, is to just like always stay on top of my skincare, my just like my appearance and the way I look. Like, I want to just like look clean every day. I've been waking up and like doing my makeup every morning, which I don't do that ever. I didn't do that at all last year. I rarely wore makeup last year. I was always in my like, I don't need makeup era, but like I feel like doing my makeup definitely helps me feel more put together and like more in my boss bitch era. So that's what I'm doing this year. Okay, while I tell you guys this story time, I'm also going to, I'm gonna try to, I don't know if this is a good idea, but we're gonna do it anyways. I'm gonna try to reshape my brows. So let me zoom you guys in. Let me show you guys the tea. As you can see right here, look at, you can see it right there, literally in the camera. It grows, there's like overgrowth of hair like down here, so then like the tip, this top of my brow like doesn't connect. Like, I always have to draw in like the rest right here, so I just want it to be like this. It's gonna make my eyebrows really thin. Like, my eyebrows are gonna be really thin, but I really want to try it, so whatever. As I'm doing my eyebrows, this is probably not the best combination to do my eyebrows, pluck my eyebrows, shape them, while I tell you guys a story that genuinely makes me so angry that this like actually happened to me, and also that I was like so naive. I'm like, dude, really? I learned, I lived, and that's really all there is to it. Like, there's just a lot I don't know, and I'm not gonna ever know it if I don't learn it and go through the experience. So it was what it was. It was definitely a lesson. I don't know if you guys know. You guys probably know this song, and it's called, what is it called? What is it even called? There's this song, and it's called Kill Bill. I'm sure like every person has heard this song. I'm gonna play it for you guys so you can hear it for yourself. It's not Kill It's not called Kill Bill. It's really not called Kill Bill. I guess I was thinking SZA. It's called Chill Bill, and it's this song. I don't want to rock to it because honestly I'm pissed off. There's some guy that's on the song and the guy is named Jay Spooks, and Jay Spooks is actually from San Diego. I'm also from San Diego, and so ever since like middle school I kind of had always heard about Jay Spooks, especially because he was on that song, and that song was like really popular around like those middle school days. I was following him on Instagram, and back in 2020, like during the panoramic, I was on Instagram and he was like releasing new music, and he was like, I need some like ambassadors, like I need some content creators that can take pictures in my merch and like post it, whatever. And I was like, sure, of course, like I'll be a brand ambassador for you. If he was gonna like be releasing new music and post me with the merch, whatever, I was gonna gain clout. Cool. What's wrong with being a businesswoman? I had reached out to him and he was like, yeah, down. And I was like, cool. So he came himself, he dropped the merch off to my house. He like was like, yeah, I'm gonna like send you all the details about like what you need to post. Never posted the merch, which should have been red flag number 1 in 2020. He like never reached back out to me. He essentially just gave me like free product, never posted it, never wore it. Like the merch was not necessarily something I would wear. So fast forward 3 years. I'm on Instagram, random Tuesday, like literal random day. And at this point in time, I'm making music. Like I wasn't making music back in 2020. I started making music in 2022, I think, or 21. Also, let me show you guys my outfit. It's nothing crazy, but I'm wearing these little pajama pants that I thrifted, and they're Calvin Klein. Like, look at the waistband. The waistband is so cute. It says Calvin Klein. And then this little crew neck is from Walmart, because you guys know I'm balling on a budget severely. Back into the story. I'm on Instagram on a random Monday, and I go to my stories. I come across little old Jay Spooks on Instagram. He posts a story and he's like, I'm going on tour. So I was like, cool. Not that I really cared, but can I like not be a bitch? He's like, I'm going on tour. I need some opening acts for tour. If you make music, like I would love to work with you. Send me a DM, blah, blah, blah. So of course I'm like, I make music. I send him a DM and I'm like, hey, like I would love to like come on tour with you and like help you hype up the crowd. Like I feel like I would do really good at that. I've already performed, just like hyping myself up, like making myself seem more important than I really am. I message him that and he ends up getting back to me and he's like, OMG, like send me your Spotify. Like I would love to check it out, whatever. And so I'm like, cool. So send the man my Spotify. He gets back to me that night and he's like, oh, I would love to hop on a call with you and kind of just like go through the details, whatever. So we schedule a call. We get on this phone call and he basically just like gives me a rundown and is like, yeah, there's like all these different cities. Like you can pick what cities you want to go to. Like you can go to San Francisco, like you can go to Seattle. You can literally go like to whatever cities you want. Just let me know. But we'll have to like put together a rate for you. I said, a rate? As in like I pay to come perform on this tour, which of course that makes sense, but like, does it make sense? Like I was such an amateur in the music industry. Like I literally did not know anything, you guys. So in my head, I'm like, yes, like I will give this man money to come on tour with him, when in reality, the tour should have been paid for. My travel expenses and all of my expenses should have been paid for from the ticket sales for the tour. Like that's just like how that works. And then I should have gotten a percentage from that. So it just like, it was adding up at the time. Like I said, was just like so naive. Like I didn't know shit about shit. I didn't have like a manager or anything that was like, no, like you're not doing that. So I was definitely like just kind of doing things for myself. So I jumped the gun, of course, and was like, yes, like I'm so down, whatever you need. Like whatever this man needed, I was willing to provide. Damn, okay, I can't, like literally the way that I'm juggling a cajillion things in my life right now, it's like not even funny. Like trying to make TikToks, trying to make YouTube videos, trying to work, trying to eat healthy, trying to work out, like and there's another fucking work message, like please kill me. I'm just kidding. Okay, getting back into the story, didn't have anybody to tell me like, Myranda, don't do that, Myranda, like that's not a good deal. Like it was just me, myself, and I, that's all I got in the end. I didn't know shit about shit. He was like, I'm gonna let you know like more details as they come, but that's what it's gonna be. Like just decide what cities you're interested in joining along. And then after you kind of get back to me, then we can put together like how much you'll owe us and whatever. So I was like, okay. So a couple days go by and he sends me like the list of cities that they're going to, and it's just like different cities across the United States. And there were 4 cities on the West Coast, and it was like San Francisco, I think one of them was like Washington or something. I don't even really remember. But there were like 4 cities, and then the last city was Phoenix, Arizona. That was like on this side. I was like, I'll do those 4 stops. I'll end my leg of the tour in Phoenix. So there was gonna be 4 shows that I was gonna be doing. And so he was like, great, that sounds awesome. Like, let me connect with my team. He gets back to me suspiciously fast, and he's like, hey, me and my team spoke, that's perfect, we'll lock you in for those tour dates. We're gonna ask you to do 500 for the 4 shows, and that'll take care of transportation, food, hotel stays, and like you should be set. Just 500 like to come on tour with us. So of course I'm like, yeah. And in my head it's like $500, like for me, like as a normal civilian, like that's not cheap. Like I can't just like fork over $500. I was like talking to my friends about it. They're not fucking music managers. They're like, we will help you pay for this. This is a dream come true. You have to do this. You know, just trying to be supportive friends. I was like, no guys, like it's fine. I'll figure it out. Like I'll send him $500. Like if this is really meant to be, then it's totally fine. We will make it work. And so that's kind of the mentality I had. So then the next day, he's like, hey, do you have the $500? Like we can lock you in as soon as you send the $500. So I'm like, yes, I will have that to you by the end of the day. So of course, little old me, I fork over $500 through Cash App. But before I sent the $500, which another red flag, really crazy that he didn't say this, like a contract, like I don't know, you're gonna send over $500 and you need to like have a contract set in stone. He didn't say anything about a contract. My friend recommended, she was like, you should probably have a contract. And I was like, you're probably right. So I had to be like, hey, can you have your team like send over a contract? Like I'm sending over all this money. Can you please send over a contract? And he was like, yeah, like I'll have my team make one up. So they sent me over like a random DocuSign contract. And in my head, I was like, perfect, we're set to go. Like, okay, we got everything we needed. I will send over this $500. I'm just waiting to hear back about like the arrangements for like flights and like, okay, when am I gonna get to where I need to go? Like, what's the deal with like the travel? Like how am I gonna get to, I think the first stop was like in Portland. Like how am I gonna get to Portland? Like I just paid you guys $500. My eyebrow's gone. Oh my God, that's like a whole nother story for a whole different time. One time, so if you guys see this scar on my eyebrow, I fell in the shower when I was like prepubescent and I hit my head on the faucet and I now have this big scar on my eyebrow. So my whole life I've hated my eyebrows because like of this scar and like they would be so hard to like maintain and stuff. So one time I decided to take a razor just like this one, but it was electric, and I think it was like in my grandma's bathroom or something, and I used it and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna like shave off like this part to like make my eyebrow even. No bitch, I shaved off half my eyebrow and I was like trying to hide it from my mom. She would like come look at me and I would like stand like this and be like, hi mom. Eyebrow halfway off. Back to the original story, because allegedly I have ADHD, as if you couldn't already tell. But I'm living for the am I? I might need to shave off this one now to like make it even. Yes! Okay, wait. Leave it, just leave it. Leave it, leave it, leave it, leave it, leave it. Well, anyways, let's just get to finishing this story while I do my skincare and then we'll get into makeup. But anyways, what the frick? What the flip, you guys? Oh my God, that was a surprise. That's like broken in half. The other half is literally inside the bottle. Like I don't even feel like I can use that. There's like glass in it. Proceeds to use it. Okay, I'm gonna throw this away because that's like really dangerous. There's probably like micro shards of glass that I just applied to my face. I feel like I feel it. I feel like I feel it. Where were we in the story? I had sent this man $500 and now I'm just like waiting for travel arrangements. And I'm also waiting for him to announce the tour on social media, like to let people know, hey, I'm going on tour. And like all my friends already knew, like my friends were gonna come out and see me. Some of my friends were gonna fly to some of the cities that we were gonna be at and come to these shows. And so I'm like, obviously you need to post about this show, like now, like today. The tour was starting in 2 months from the day that he told me that he was going to be having this tour. I don't know, it just kind of seems like maybe you should announce the tour. Like, I don't know, just like an idea. I was just like waiting day in and day out, like, sir, are you gonna announce this tour? We get up to 1 month before the tour. Still no tour announced. I'm like, okay, like, when are you gonna announce the tour? And so at this point, I'm kind of like losing hope. I didn't have anything set up. Like I wasn't looking for outfits. Like I feel like in the back of my mind, I knew that this tour was never gonna happen. I need the money back. Like that was $500 I sent to that you guys were like so urgently needing. 2 months go by and never announces the tour. Then I am like constantly messaging him. And so I'm like, hey, like honestly, not to be like a bitch or anything, but like I feel like this tour is just like not gonna happen the way that I feel like it should. So I'm going to go ahead and back out of this tour because I just like can't have my name attached to that. Like nothing is set in stone, like nothing is ready. You're like changing venues, you're like changing dates. Like I need the security of knowing like this, that everything is just like set in place, and absolutely nothing was set in place. And so he like sends me this message and he's like, yeah, dude, like you're totally good. Like no worries, I'll get you that refund. Okay, where's the refund? So I'm like sending him so many messages like, okay, thank you so much. Like, thank you for understanding. Like, go ahead, send the refund to my Cash App. Like, it's all good. Never sends the refund. Have to message him again. I'm like, where's the money? Like, this is an artist that's on a song that has like 2 billion streams. Like, if that doesn't say something about what the music industry really is, like you could have 2 billion streams on a song and be dirt fucking broke. You can't pay people back. You can't send people their money back. Who's your manager? Because he keeps saying like my manager this, my manager that. Like, fire your fucking manager. They suck. If anything, your manager should have been the one that was reaching out to my manager, which was gonna be my dad. So I told my dad everything. Obviously it was like really embarrassing and I was like really frustrated, and I was just like, I kind of like did jump the gun. Like I didn't really talk to anybody about this. My dad ends up like calling this man. He's like, you need to send Myranda her money back or else like you will be dealt with. Yeah, he got scared and he sent the money. So that was pretty much it. J Spooks, we're not on great terms. That was that story. Pretty traumatizing. I could probably tell it within like 30 seconds on TikTok. You guys got the 10-minute version just for fun. Before we dive into my makeup, I want to dive into some literature, and this is the good, the bad, the ugly, the really fucking good. I can't stop thinking about it. I want to start off with books that I've hated, books that I just like don't like whatsoever, and that happens to be Tales from the Cafe. I saw this, I think like in a TikTok or something. This is how far I've gotten into the book. I've read this much, and I probably won't be reading anymore. I don't know, I'm not really fucking with it. I didn't expect like what the plot was gonna be about. It's like even really short and it's hard to get through. The words are like so big. Like look at how big the words are on the pages. Like it's huge and it's still so hard to get through. Next book, I've had this for a really long time, and this is The Poetry Remedy: Prescriptions for the Heart, Mind, and Soul by William Sieghart, I think it is, or Sieghart. So this is a poetry book and it has a whole bunch of different poems for like different types of like things that you may be going through. So for example, like in the table of contents, you just find like what you're going through. So mental and emotional well-being. Girl, like please. Mental and emotional well-being. Like there's a poem about anxiety. There's a poem about compulsive behavior, a poem about depression. Like so many different poems. There's like poems about grieving, about like death, about self-image, about like the world and other people. There's like really good ass fucking poems in here. And sometimes when I feel called to, will just like pick up this book and find a poem that I need. Like I just love that you can go into the table of contents and you're like, I'm struggling with anxiety really bad right now, and you go and you read the poem about anxiety and it like changes your life. Literally happened to me the other night. I bookmarked 3 of the poems in here like a couple nights ago. Each one of these poems changed my life. Specifically, I'm gonna share with you guys the poem that changed my life the most, that I literally wanted to chuck this book out the window because of how insane I felt like it was. This poem is 3 stanzas. Is that what it's called? This poem is 3 lines and it changed my life, and it's about seeking a soulmate. The poem is called Your Task, and it reads, your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. Are you kidding? Are you joking? Shut up, you're dumb. I just love poetry. I'm a singer, I'm a songwriter. Poetry and literature really helps with my writing, so I love reading poems. I also read and am currently reading Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. This is a tough freaking read. It's a self-help book, but like I feel like I can only read like a couple pages at a time, but I really got into this one. Like I was annotating the fuck out of this, like highlighting. This book really helped me, and I feel like I am called to this book at certain times in my life. Like I was really into it and then I kind of gave it a break because I just feel like it's so hefty, but once I get back into it, I'm gonna be like, wait a minute, I needed to read this next section like at this specific time in my life. I've always just kind of felt that way with books. I feel called to them at certain moments in my life. For example, I buy certain books and I'm like, I'm gonna read them, and then I don't read them for like years. For example, I forgot to grab this. The book that's currently on my nightstand is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Freaking obsessed. It just like keeps getting better. It's so drama, it's so tea. It's essentially like you're reading tea. Like somebody is sitting and like telling you tea. I'm halfway through. Oh my God, I love this book. But I bought this book a year before I started reading it. Maybe even 2 years possibly. Like I bought this book and it took me forever to pick it up, and I had a flight for Christmas, and so I was like, I need a book, and I just decided to randomly pick this book up off of the bookshelf, read like a quarter of it on my flight. I was hooked. It's about a famous woman and she had like 7 husbands, and you're like, what? But she like goes through the different like relationships she was in. Before I go to bed, that's my routine. I read my book, and I also will play like a reading playlist in the background from YouTube. Oh my God, it makes you feel like the ultimate main fucking character. Like, I love it. The last book that I want to talk about, the best book ever. I read this in 2023. It is by Colleen Hoover and it's called Layla. Oh my God, you guys. I already loved Colleen Hoover. I've read like 4 or 5. I think this was like my 5th. So I have Verity, Ugly Love, It Starts With Us, It Ends With Us. Those ones. So I have 4, and then this is my 5th. I had no idea what this book was about. I just picked it up at Barnes & Noble's again for a flight. That's my favorite time to read. I'm like, if I'm gonna go on a plane, I'm bringing a book and that's gonna be my reading time. That book was just like sitting on the bookshelf facing this way instead of this way, and it was just like sitting like this, and I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna pick it up and I'm gonna try it out and see what happens. Read half of the book on my flight home. It was epic. Epic is a crazy word. It was epic from the very beginning. It was not slow. The first page, I was like, okay, we're really getting into this. And if you like the Colleen Hoover books and you've read like Verity and stuff, better than Verity. It dives into kind of some different topics that Colleen Hoover even said. Like I read the little, is it like the epilogue or something at the end of the book? She was like, I've never written anything like this before. Like I've never dove into the spiritual world or stuff like that. And she was even a little shook herself. And I was like, same, Colleen. Didn't expect this one from you. And nobody even talks about that book. Nobody is sitting here being like, Layla's the best book ever. If she needs a movie to put out, she needs to bring Layla to live action, because girl, that book is good as frick. Those are all of my book recommendations. This has been a long video, but I think that was the goal. So let's just dive right into that topic, which is gonna be an interesting one because not a lot of people know what I do, and I'm gonna just be straight up with you guys right now. I don't love the industry that I work in, but I've made the most money in it, and it has been solely the reason why I can live the lifestyle that I live and afford my rent, to be completely honest. In 2021 or 2, in one of those years, I was friends with this girl and she did only, I don't know if I can say that on here, so I'm just gonna say she did OF. I think I can say that. She ended up meeting like this guy that ran an agency that helped models that did OF. I ended up like meeting the guy too because we went to a party. It was such a small like little agency business type situation, and over time he ended up needing like an assistant to work on some of the pages, like doing social media management. I was like, I'm down. I could learn. So he hired me on the spot. I ended up working for him for 2 years, and I learned so much about like the adult entertainment industry against my will. I ended up leaving that company at the end of last year of 2023 in like October, and I started working for a different company. I've been working for him for like 4 months now, and it's been really amazing. When I worked at the other agency, I hated my life. That whole 2 years of my life is a story time within itself that I don't want to really get into in this video because I don't want to scare you guys away. I'm really happy where I'm at like in my life right now, and this industry has just been really interesting. While I finish off my makeup, because that's probably gonna be the last thing I do since this video ended up being a lot longer than I expected, especially because I was like, oh, I'm gonna talk and do my makeup. It's like 30 minutes into the video, I hadn't even started my makeup. I wanted to tell you guys a funny little story time about the time that I broke my foot. And this was like 2 years ago. I was living here already in Arizona, which I feel like I've never talked either on the internet about why I moved to Arizona. Should we get into it? It's messy, it's messy. I don't know, do you guys want to hear the broken foot story, or do you want to hear why I moved to Arizona? Comment down below. Okay, we'll get into why I moved to Arizona because it's just more juicy. Like I'm gonna tell the broken foot story time on my TikTok, so make sure to go follow my TikTok, and then that way you guys can hear the broken foot story time if you're really that interested. I was dating my ex and I was living with him. I moved in with him. You're crazy, girl. I moved in with him and I was living with him. There was really nothing bad about our relationship. Like our relationship was fine. He works like in the photography industry, and he was doing like a lot of work with like other women. I know that he wouldn't cheat on me, but I myself just was not really secure in my own self. So when he would like go kind of film with these other girls and stuff, I definitely would feel like a little bit weird. I feel like over time it just kind of started to cause issues in our relationship because that was his job. Like that's the way he paid his bills, and over time things just kind of got a little bit rocky, and we had a conversation. He was like, maybe you should go move back in with your parents. I said, no, I will figure it out before I go move with my parents or move back in with my parents, because that's just like embarrassing. Like you're not gonna go do all that and then be like, can I come back home? Like, no. And the thing is, it's not like my parents wouldn't have let me. Like my parents 100% would have been like, yes, you can move back. I got the idea to move out. I was like, obviously you're saying I should move back with my parents, but that's not gonna be something that I'm gonna do. Instead, I'm gonna move out by myself. And that's what I wanted to do. Like, I wanted to move out by myself, but I lived in San Diego with him and I was like, I just cannot afford rent here in San Diego. Like, it's just not gonna happen. I just felt like I wasn't meant to be in California anymore. Like, I grew up in California my whole life. I was 22 at this point and I was like, I want to try something different. And I started looking up apartments in San Diego, and obviously they were so expensive. Like, I literally cannot afford to live here. So I started Googling cheap cities to live. Let me tell you, delusion works. Like, delusion drives you. I want to live by myself and I want a washer and dryer. That's it. Arizona came up and I had never been to Arizona before. I found an apartment, and the first apartment that I found was the apartment that I ended up living in for the next 2 years, and it was the cutest apartment ever. It was a studio loft for my first apartment ever by myself. It was $1,200. Did I know how I was gonna pay that rent? Absolutely not. Did I figure it out? Yes. Was that the best decision I could have made for myself and my life? Abso-freaking-lutely. That changed my life. Like, moving to a different state, I found this new job, I found this new industry where I make good money, I'm able to take care of myself. I'm not gonna let this man like negate my life. Like, I'm not gonna let this man be like, you should just move back in with your parents because it's like the easy thing to do. I'm like literally living my dream life. I'm coming on 4 years in Arizona. Last year I moved in with a roommate. Such a nice apartment. This is my dream room. I have my dream bed frame. This is the Soft Frame Designs bed frame. I've had this bed frame on my Pinterest board for like years on years, and I found some girl selling it on Facebook Marketplace because she bought the wrong size and she sold it to me for $300. These beds go for like $500. Never back down, never what. I can literally start a whole podcast. Like, this was a podcast in itself. That was such a fun little video to just sit down, film, talk to you guys, have just like really vulnerable conversations, share some story times that I've never shared before. If you guys like that format, I have so much other shit we could dive into. I feel like this is giving like podcast, except like not podcast. Like, I love like the visual aspect of it, like me doing things while I'm talking. I might do more of these in the future. I will be posting a new video every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure to subscribe to my page. Make sure to turn on your post notifications. Also, please go follow me on all of my other social media. I only post once a week on YouTube, but I post daily on TikTok and I post daily on Instagram stories as well. I had so much fun filming this video. Shout out to Ashley who gave me the idea for this video. Thank you, friend. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.